Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome to your 7 a.m. gentle yoga class on Wednesday morning. We're going to start in a seated position. So you can be cross-legged on the ground. You can have your legs out in front of you. You could be in hero's pose or seated on a block. So whatever's comfortable for you to sit for a little bit of time. And take a minute to bring your focus inward as you come onto your mat this morning. Leave the things that you don't need right now off of the mat. They'll be there waiting for you when you come back. And take a few breaths here. And then we'll start to warm up the body from the top down. So we'll start with a few shoulder rolls. You can roll your shoulders back. You can roll them forward if that feels good. You can roll them one at a time. And then shrug your shoulders up to your ears really tight. And exhale, release. Let the blood flow back in. Shrug your shoulders up again. Breathe in, breathe out. And we'll take some neck stretches. So reach your fingertips down at your sides towards the mat. And then drop your right ear to your right shoulder. At the same time that you're dropping your ear to your shoulder, reach the shoulders down as you reach your fingertips down towards them. If you want to, place a gentle guiding hand on your opposite ear and draw your head down, you can, as long as you're not pulling, simply guiding. And release your head back to center. And drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And release the head back up. And loosen the shoulders if you need to. From here, raise your right arm and bend your right elbow so that your hand drops between your shoulder blades, right between your shoulder blades like that. And lift your head so that your gaze is straight in front of you. If you want to place your other hand on your elbow to kind of guide it in, you can. And take a few breaths here. Release that hand. Raise your left arm, bend your left elbow, drop your hand between your shoulder blades. You can use the other hand on your elbow to guide it. Lift your gaze so that the back of your head is pressing into your arm. And release. Shake out your arms if you need to. And then we're going to take a little baby twist. We're going to start warming up the spine, moving it in different directions. So place your right hand directly behind you, right in the middle, so that this is helping you sit up nice and tall. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Start to look over your right shoulder. And as you inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, maybe that breath drops you into the twist a little bit. So let your breath guide the twist. And it's just a little bit baby twist to start. Unwind and come back to center. This time your left hand comes behind you to the mat. Right hand comes to your left knee. Sit up nice and tall and start to look over your left shoulder. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And exhale to relax into the twist. Come back to center. And then we'll take a little side bend. Inhale your arms up overhead and then drop your right hand to your right side. Reach your left arm over to the right and draw your shoulder back so that you're opening the front of the chest. Come back up and over to the left side. Extend through both side bodies. So that you're not getting too crunched up in left side here. Leave room for your lungs to expand when you breathe. And come back up to center. Take a big good morning stretch. And release your hands down by your sides. And we're going to take some torso circles. So starting to move the whole top half of your body. Waking up the spine, waking up the hips, moving the shoulders. And these circles can be as big or as small as you want them to be. And then switch directions. Come back to the center. And we're going to come into child's pose for a moment. And this is considered a resting pose. You can always come to child's pose at any time in your practice. And we're not going to spend a long time here since we just started getting moving. But even though it's a resting pose, the first couple of times it can still feel very active. For me personally, I feel it a lot in my hip flexors. And if that's the case, if this is not the intensity where you want to be, you can always bring your knees together for a more restored pose. And take one more big breath here. Big inhale. Exhale out through your mouth like a big sigh. And we'll get ready to move again. So we're going to come up to tabletop position with your shoulders stacked over your wrists and your hips over your knees. You could take some organic movement here if you want to snake side to side a little bit or hinge back and forth. Sometimes that can feel really good on the wrists. Spread your fingers wide, pressing each finger into the mat. Then we'll take some cat-cows. As you inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone, pull your shoulders back away from the ears, and lift your gaze. Exhale, round your spine for cat, sucking your belly button in. And inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. As you're connecting your breath with your movement, you might go a little faster or a little slower than I do. So move at your own pace. And wherever you're at, do one more cow and one more cat. And then we'll meet back in tabletop. From your tabletop, we'll move into downward facing dog. So move your handprints move your hands one handprint forward on the mat to give yourself some space. Tuck your toes, lift your knees and lift your hips, and then start to pedal out your down dog, straightening one leg and then the other, waking up the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. Once your legs are a little bit warmed up, you can bend them as much as you need to so that you can press your heart towards your thighs. Lift the tailbone up. And take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale out through your mouth. And then look forward to that spot on your mat between your hands. Baby step your feet forward to that spot so that you can come into a forward fold. And your feet can be hip width apart or big toes touching. Let your arms, your neck, the whole top half of your body drape over your legs for your forward fold. Let it hang loose. You could even sway your arms side to side or rest your pinkies in your elbows. You can shake your head yes. You can shake your head no. You can shake your head yes again. And in your forward fold, again, you can bend your knees as much as you need to so that your heart and your belly can melt towards your thighs. And we're going to rise up very slowly, rolling through the spine. So starting at your hips, the base of your spine and your sacrum, imagine stacking each vertebra on top of the last, keeping your arms, your head and neck relaxed. And maybe you're sucking your belly button in a little bit to support the spine as you come up through the center of your body. You get to your shoulders slide down away from the ears. And your head is the very last thing to come up. Shine your palms forward so that your shoulder blades slide down away. And root down through your feet. Spread your toes wide, press them into the mat. Bend your knees a little bit. Make sure that you're not locking your knees. And inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain. Maybe take a little mini back bend. Come back up. And then bring your hands through heart center. Lead with your heart and forward fold. Inhale this time to a halfway lift. Your hands can come to your shins or your thighs, but your back is flat and you're squeezing your shoulder blades back and together. So you're making the number 7 with your body. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, release, forward fold. And inhale, sweep your arms up overhead to extended mountain. Really big move. Back bend if you want. Come back to center. And from here, bring your palms together. We're going to take a standing side bend. So make sure you're rooted through your feet. And then arc your arms over to the right side. Pull that shoulder back so you're opening the chest. You can kick your hip out to the left a little bit to get that side bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale over to left side. Come back up to center. And release the hands. Maybe they rest at heart center. Maybe they rest down by your sides. We're going to move through a little bit of a modified moon flow. So we're going to start in star, which is feet wide, turned out a little bit. It's like 45-degree angle. And then arms out, making a 5-pointed star shape. And bend your knees, bring your elbows in, coming to horse pose. You can have your elbows in, palms up, or hands at heart center. And take a minute to say hello to the hips. Starting with a pretty big hip, so you don't need to go very low or deep yet. And then start to glide back and forth. Just tiny, gentle movements. If it feels better, you can rise up and down a little bit. And then bring your hands to your thighs. And bring your left shoulder to your right knee. Not to it, but towards it. And alternate slowly. Right shoulder coming towards the left knee. And just back and forth a little bit. So we're keeping the spine moving, we're keeping the spine fluid. At the same time that we're starting to get into those hips and legs. And we're going to come up slowly. So come back to the center, hands still on your thighs. Bring your torso up, straighten your legs, come back to a 5-pointed star. And then adjust your footing so that your left foot is pointing straight up towards the top of your mat. And your left foot is parallel, your right foot is parallel to the short edge of your mat. So your left foot should be forward, your right foot should be back, setting up for warrior 2. So adjust your stance. And then bend your front knee, sink into your hips. And just take a look down and make sure that your front knee is tracking right over your big toe there. Spread your arms wide and bring your gaze over your left middle finger. Take one more breath here. Sinking into those hips a little bit. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, tip over into extended side angle. Again, drawing that right shoulder back to open the chest. Just weight into the knife edge of your back foot so that not all of your weight is forward on that bent knee. On your next inhale, let that top arm pull you up and over to a reverse warrior. Stay low in your lunge. Don't straighten that knee yet and lose the lunge. Hang on to it, sink into it. Come back to your warrior two. Now straighten that front knee. We're gonna move into a triangle. So if it helps, you can put your hands on your hips for a second and kick your hips back. So over to the right. And then reach forward as long and far as you can with your torso, with your arm, before you tick-tock your arms and tip over for your triangle. Move a little bit so you can see. And breathe while you're here. If you need to adjust this pose a little bit, feel free. You can grab some props. If you have a yoga block, awesome. If you don't, you can always use a stack of books or some cans of food. Take one more breath here. Inhale, exhale. On your inhale, come back up, bend the front knee for warrior two. And then rotate your feet so that you're facing the side of your mat and you're coming back into your five-pointed star. And we're going to face the other direction. So this time your left foot is pointing straight at what was the back of your mat. It's going to be the front of your mat now. And then your right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Setting yourself up for warrior two on this side. Bend your right knee. Sink into your hips a little bit. Spread out your arms and your gaze comes forward over your right middle finger this time. And inhale, reach forward. Exhale, tip over to extended side angle. Spread your weight evenly between both of your feet. Let the top arm pull you up into reverse warrior. So your left arm slides down your back leg, right arm comes up overhead. Stay low in your lunge, in your right knee. Don't lose that awesome lunge. Bring your hands back to warrior two. Straighten your right leg. Kick your hips back towards the left. Reach forward again. And then tick-tock your arms with your left arm coming up, your right arm coming down. Find that triangle pose. And it might be different than it was on your other side too. So no need to exactly the same, make it work for you on this side. Lift your torso back up. Bend that front knee again. Rotate your feet so that you're facing the side of your mat. Feet out at a 45-degree angle. And then we're gonna start to lunge back and forth. So your feet are nice and wide here. And you're just lunging side to side, getting lower as you go. Don't have to go real fast. When you're ready, we're gonna side lunge. It can be as simple as just being right here. Or if you would like to, you can come into a more extreme bend in one of your legs. And if you can't tell, I'm still up on my tippy toes here. So I can get back up relatively easily. But find that level of yourself where you don't want to strain thigh or groin muscles. You just want to go to the point where you're getting a really nice active stretch. And that looks different for everybody. So you do you. And be very careful moving between your two sides. Be kind to your knees always. And come back up to center. Take whatever other movement feels good. And then step your feet together. We're going to work our way down to seated on the mat again. So you can do that however works best for you. And bring your legs out in front of you. We're just going to take a little cobbler's pose, your feet together. And you get to decide how far you want your heels from your body, depending on what sensation you're looking for. You can stay right here. You can either use gravity and the weight of your legs to open up your thighs, or if you like to, you can prop up your knees with something, blocks, blankets, pillows, if you want this to be a little more restorative. Or you can stay right here, sitting tall, or you can start to hinge forward, leading with your heart, and fold over your leg if you'd like to. Slowly start to lift your torso. Use your hands to press yourself back up and maybe even walk your hands back towards your body. Use your hands to bring your knees together and extend them straight out in front of you. Maybe windshield wiper them back and forth or shake them out a little gently. And our next pose is deer pose. So to move into deer pose, bend your left leg just like it was in cobbler, and swing your left arm out behind you. It's also bent at the knee, so your legs are kind of spiraled. And we're going to take a very gentle twist over to the left. So bring both of your hands towards your left side. You can even like rest your right hand on your left knee. And then lift up through the hips a little bit, or press the right hip forward, if that makes sense in your body, so that as you begin to face your left side, you're finding some extension in that right thigh, maybe in the right hip flexor. And you really don't have to twist very far. So it's not as much twisting as changing your body facing. And this is another good place for blocks. You can set your hands on something to stay lifted through the torso. And some people prefer to stay lifted, play around with it a little bit to see where you get the best sensation. Because some people like coming down a little bit lower onto their forearms. And then we'll switch sides. So gently come back to center. Bring your right leg forward again. Swing your left leg back. So both knees are bent. And then rotate your torso to the right side. And tweak it a little bit so that you find the sensation that feels good in your left leg here. Slowly rotate back to center. Bring that left leg out in front again. Shake out what you need to shake out. And one of our last poses is known as cow face or shoelace, depending on who you talk to. But that is stacking your knees with your feet out to the side. So I would start, you can start on whatever side you want, but I usually start with my right leg on the bottom, my left leg on top. And the goal is to stack your knees, and you can have your heels as far out from your body or as tucked in as you want. So that's also a personal preference and might change where you feel the sensation in the pose. But this is another one where you can stay upright, seated just like this, or you have the option to fold forward. And that really just depends on how your body is feeling in general today, this time of day. So find a sweet spot for you. And if you find that your knees don't meet, if you have a pretty big gap here, feel free to grab a pillow or a rolled up towel or something and cram it up in there. Give your body some support. 'Cause this pose is going to look forever. When your body's telling you it's time to move out of this pose and switch sides, slowly, gently uncross your legs. This time your left leg is underneath, right leg on top. If you did the same legs I did, as long as you switch sides, you're good. And take a minute to feel, how are things on this side? Because chances are they're probably going to be a little bit different. For me, they're a lot different. So I've got a pillow under my left knee, so under both knees, really. And again, figure out where you want your heels to be. If you want to stay upright here, or if you'd like to fold forward. Take a little extra time on this side if you need to feel balanced. Or if you're already feeling pretty even, you can lift your torso. If your torso's already lifted, start to unwind your legs. And take whatever movement you need here to bring blood flow back into the legs. And we're going to work our way onto our back. If you've got a tried and true way to do that, you can do it. Otherwise, you can roll over onto your hip, send your legs out to the side. From your side, roll onto your back. Or you can do the good old thigh grab and roll back. Once you're down on the mat, draw one knee into your chest, followed by the other. Keeping your low back safe while you do that. You can rock side to side if that feels good. You can draw invisible circles on the ceiling with your knees. If you'd like to massage out your low back and your sacrum a little bit. And our last pose today is going to be a happy baby. So you can either take a hold of your big toes with your front two fingers, or you can take a hold of the outside of your feet with your whole hand, and then kick your feet into your hands at the same time that you're pulling your knees in towards your armpits. And the soles of your feet are facing the ceiling. So you're kind of doing an upside down malasana, upside down yogi squat. And again, if it feels good, you can rock side to side here. You can straighten one leg and then the other. And draw your knees into your chest one last time. Giving them a big squeeze. Maybe bring your forehead up to your knees. And then relax everything. Let one leg slide down to the mat, followed by the other. And then find the pose that you want to spend your Shavasana in. So make yourself cozy, grab a blanket, grab a pillow. If you'd like to take a traditional corpse pose, you can have your hands down by your sides, legs on the ground with your feet fallen open. If this is not as comfortable, and especially if you do have some low back tension, you can ease the arch in your low back by coming into the constructive rest pose. Your feet are a little wider than hip width, and your legs are bent, feet flat on the ground, knees knocked together. And you can rest your hands by your sides or down on your belly. Once you find your Shavasana pose, I encourage you to stay in Shavasana as long as your schedule allows. You have about 5 minutes left of this hour-long block, but if you take more time, I encourage it. This is your time to let your yoga practice really sink in, to thank your body for the hard work that it does for you. And we rarely take time out of our schedules to truly rest. We're either go, 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 or collapsing in exhaustion at the end of the day. So take what time you can and enjoy this period of rest. Rest in gratitude. And let your arms and legs start to feel heavy. Let any noises around you seem distant and faint. They're there, you acknowledge them, but they're not distracting. Let your breath flow gently and evenly, like the waves of an ocean washing up onto the shore and then receding again. And I'll sign off now so that you can enjoy your Shavasana. I thank you for practicing yoga with me, for choosing to come